Hey Jim, my name is Joseph. I'm a U.S. veteran. Um, just want you to know I listen to your podcast on YouTube and Patreon. Just want to let you know that you're doing a good job, and I am open to all what you do. So um, keep it up. You're doing a good job. Thank you.
Jim Brewer.
Jim Brewer.
Jim Brewer.
Jim Brewer.
Jim Breuer.
Hey, this is Jim Brewer. You know what that song is, Mike?
Nope.
It's a very, very obscure Metallica song. It's one of my favorite songs, and no one really thinks of it as a.
Do it again.
You're never gonna guess it.
Okay.
Anyone out there is here's the riff to it.
Fuck. I hear it.
You're never gonna get it.
I hear it.
It's called Some Kind of Monster. And I wish I was listening to this song on my back deck, and I wish I got to ask Hetfield, like, what, which I doubt he would tell you anyway, because I think most musicians like you to use your own imagination. Mm-hmm. What is that song about? It's very, because in part of that song, I wish they would redo the drums though. No offense to Lars. I just ping, 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 ping. If you put I want this song redone. I feel like this song has such potential, some kind of monster. And there's a part where in the song he goes, "Are we the people? Are we the people? Some kind of monster. This monster lives." Oh my God. Those are perfect lyrics for today. The last couple of years, I just felt like I was watching the ultimate Looney Bin show. I mean, not only was it this bizarre Looney Tunes show and movie, what was crazier is the way people thought. It's like I can show you a picture of a donkey and you're telling me that it's a monkey, and you'd have people yelling and screaming at you for going, how do you not see it as a monkey? Well, because he's got big ears, and he goes, and he's got long face, and he kind of looks like a miniature horse-looking thing. That's a donkey. How do you see a monkey? Does he climb a tree? No, but people would. It was weird. So I loved touring, and I loved trying to point that stuff out and trying to find the most outrageous, silly analogy or way to put that out there. To relieve people that go, am I the only one that feels like I'm crazy? There was nothing I enjoyed more than people coming up going, hey, man, I got to be honest with you. I'm so happy you say that. I don't feel crazy anymore. I thought we were the only ones. And then for the people who believed that the donkey is a monkey, more and more of them are waking up. I tell you what, I've seen it with very close people to me at all different ages. And it's very refreshing to see people opening their eyes. So that's And I feel like we're at a point in humanity where we all have to just take a big inhale and a big exhale and start going, okay, clearly we gotta change, and we have to figure. So we have to start taking, some people will say it as taking steps back. I say it's taking steps back in the right direction of why we're here. At the end of the day, why are we here? Why does humanity exist? Do you ever ask yourself that question? Like, what if certain birds exist to plant seeds and eat seeds, and all creatures are created to keep something of the life cycle going, what are humans for? Bro, I had this. I remember years ago, this is a moment that blew my mind. And this is, by the way, I'm all over the place, but I don't care. This is just going to be one of those podcasts. Probably 25, 26 years ago, I go to Australia. And when I was in Australia, you'd see I hope I'm saying this right, the Aborigines. And you'd also see that, like, you can go visit them, visit tribes and stuff like that. That's why I go to Africa and these other places. I love seeing humans still living without voting, without a school, without a latte, without books. And the mindset that we've all grown up in is such a, oh my God, like that's so primitive. That's a great word. Primitive, uneducated. All words linked to natural humanity are negative words. But this Aborigine guy goes, because you would see them laying outside of buildings. You see them in their natural habitat, but at the end of the day, too, they would gather under trees. And like the males would gather under one tree and all the females under another tree, but still fairly close, even if it was in an area like a city. And they would go in the park and start, and there would always be one person sitting outside of a building, because the Aborigines tribe, like what they're doing in Africa, one or two people from the tribe will end up getting educated, join our system. They jump out of their natural habitat and they go into our system of living, where it's for $1 and a car and you work to get things. And if you really think about that, giving birth for thousands and thousands and thousands of years with no hospitals. There's no, do you have insurance? You need to check it. You need to see 7 doctors while you're pregnant. You got to see the doctor 40 times. You're getting shots and vaccines and all that. What happened to humanity long before that? I really think a lot of those answers are purposely pushed to the side. And the primitive world has all those answers. So this Aborigine guy, I go, what's up with because he can speak some English. I go, what is up with the gathering under the trees every night? And he said, he goes, well, we gather every day because today is all we have. We're blessed that we have today. And as the sun goes down and the moon rises, we don't know if tomorrow will be here. Nobody knows. And we look at your society, you're just ants. Ants in a car, ants walking in a straight line. All of us are living to make something that was created, money. All of you are living and preparing for a future that you don't even know may exist. And it's just, as some people like, wow, that's kind of, that's kind of a crazy thought. Like if you think like that. But at the end of the day, that really is what life is. We don't know what tomorrow brings. We don't know if we're here tomorrow. We have no clue. As much as you want to, that way of thinking. I mean, that guy, it's a very simple statement, but the guy blew my mind. It's so simple. You're ants and you're working your life and spending most of your energy planning your whole life for a future that may never exist. Do you know how many people I met over the last 10 years that said, I'm going to retire. And when I retire, I'm going to get this house over here and I'm going to get a house over there. And then I'm going to do this. And then the next thing you know, they're about to retire and you have a stroke. And now you got to be spoon fed. Or I know one person, he's got cancer. Esophagus cancer, and boom, that was done. The wife continued. The wife can't take the house because. So all that energy, all that money, was it worth it? If you knew you were going to die in 24 hours, would you reflect and go, oh my God, we wasted so much time, energy, and a part of our lives trying to fit into a system that's not natural. So this Aborigine guy blew my mind. And then I started getting, I don't know, maybe it's because I've been listening. I always listen to native flute music, native Indian flute music. And then when you think of natives, I started seeing things, and I don't need any religious groups. If you label yourself as Christian, if you label yourself as Jew, whatever you label yourself as, will you just listen to this statement, please? It's just a thought, and you could try. What I ask you to do is don't try to defend your label. Just listen. I see these things and I started thinking over and over. It really struck me when I was in Africa too. All tribes, all natives, us, natural humans, there's no voting. You're not voting who the smartest person is. You're not voting who should enforce the law. You're not doing any of that. You're not waking up, you go to school, you're going to do this, thing. You live off the land where you're born. Like we're shot out of a cannon. We pay basically for being born. When you're born, you got to pay. Everything costs money. Okay, here I come. Okay, a couple shots. We're going to do this, get the kink, get a crib, everything. Oh, you got to go to school. You got to pay the taxes. You got to this, and we're going to pay for that. You got to pay for medicine. You got to pay for school. You got to pay for education. You got to pay for it's. Doesn't that boggle anyone's mind? See, I had too much time. This is the dangerous part of me taking off a little too much time, Mike.
No, I hear you, man. I actually, I looked up when Social Security started because I'm like, when did we start that? And we started in 1935. So somewhere around then they were like, hey, we can just start, just creating these money makers.
Yeah, and I think it's even long before that. So then I started getting into listening to natives, right? And the first time it really struck me, the natives, was believe it or not, the band Iron Maiden, Run to the Hills. Run to the Hills. Do we have the lyrics of that thing, Mike? Yeah. Okay. White man came across the sea. He brought us pain, misery. He killed our tribes. He killed our creed. He took our game for his own need. Okay. So just, I would get very uptight when Thanksgiving came and I want to have again. People be like, oh, and then the whole, we kill the Indians. If you really think about this is what where I want people in religious group, Christians, think about this. I said this to my wife too, and they don't know how to handle this. A group came, killed buffalo, killed them, and who they didn't kill, they handed them a Bible and they sent them to school. They couldn't speak their language. And the Bible, thou shalt not kill. Can you imagine watching someone come to your home that you've been living with all the creatures? We admire the birds, we admire the river, the fish, the thing. We share with one another. Oh, you need me to help you build a tent? You need a teepee, whatever it is. And then people come and they kill your father in front of you. They burn the whole place. They're killing all the livestock. Take the kids and they go, now here, learn the gospel. Does anyone question that a little bit? Do you ever think of that? Like that's pretty crazy hypocrisy. You know what I mean? If that's who we claim what history was. And you think about this, the things that heal all of humanity is your spirit within you. The spirit within you is the most powerful thing that you could nourish in your existence. When your spirit, when your soul is nourished, it's the most beautiful, majestic. It heals. That energy sends out like waves of energy, of purity. It's natural. When you're in nature and you're at peace, things come to you natural. You get a voice within. What do you think that voice is within? That's what blows my mind. Like, people are so afraid sometimes to look within. But if you look at all the natives tribes, they already have it. They have all the, they don't have a church, but they have God. I feel like all the answers are, I would love to see all native people, especially the elders, like the old ones, just telling real stories of spirituality, of the deeper healing inside. I started talking about these stories. How many of you, especially when we'll just take death. How many times you experience death and you feel like a sign came to heal you, whether it was a song, a bird, a butterfly, whatever it was. What is that? You think you're a nutball? Do you think, oh, those are just weird thoughts? We've been trained to think that's weird thoughts. Think about that. Who says that's weird? Who says that's not the deeper connection, which would blow out our entire existence and make life so much more simple, so much more giving and caring and nurturing? So I'm working on a thing called gene therapy, which is my good friend Gene. And if you have an issue and you want Gene to give you his way of therapy, gene therapy, send in your voicemail. Just go to jimbreuer.com, and then we know if you made it that far, you really wanted to hear some therapy. Should be good. We'll let you know when we're ready to roll with that. Gene therapy. Send in your concerns or where you need help.
Keep the show rolling. Don't let me know that something's bad, because I pick up on that right away. Oh no, we're going down, and it'll look good.
This past weekend, I had a wedding to go to. Great family we've known for a while. From New Jersey, they have family down here in the East Coast of Florida, and I got to make sure I get the right name. So I go there, and I've been trying to do this a lot lately. I told you about the woman on the plane who's been texting me, and I got to read the text next time. So now we keep in touch. I'm definitely going to connect with her again. So I go to this wedding, and we sit down, waiting for the bride and the groom to come up. And while they're walking up, next to my wife is this young cat, a young guy. I'm going to say young 20s, mid 20s. And he's with his, I guess, girlfriend, fiance. I don't know. I didn't get into it all. So I meet their mom. When you get a vibe off someone, or you try to read someone. That's all I do. My whole life is just reading people and getting a vibe off them. That's it. Situation. That's all I do. My whole life. I just study life. That's all I do. I love doing it too. So she gives off a very calming and confident like vibe. I can't explain it. It's really just I can't explain. If like something's going down, I would want to run to her, like, can you please tell me what's going on? And she seems just like, here's what's going on, and here's what's going to happen, and here's what you got to do. Thank you so much. Like that's all I got out of looks and demeanor and conversation. I could be way off for all I know. And so I get to know that the kid is famous. I didn't know that. I didn't know the kid was famous. He was like one of the first Snapchat, or I don't mean I disrespect Snapchat, or one of those that boom. It was called the Dolan twins. I didn't know anything about him. I remember one day like saying, "Oh yeah, I saw these kids," and I don't know, it was the Dolan twins. My kid's like, "You saw the Dolan twins!" I started talking to my wife that night. I went, "D, I can't stop thinking about that couple I met tonight, and that kid. This kid had such a down to earth demeanor about. I was really impressed by this kid. He was so polite. He was like a gentleman. He wasn't above anybody. I had no clue. I really didn't have any clue. And I was so impressed by this human being. I'm not lying. It literally gave me hope for, like, wow, there's still people who look like these two. And this kid, he's clearly a successful kid. He's like, yeah, we live in Australia and we go to Australia. I'm like, oh, wow. I'm like, I don't know why he was school. He's like, yeah, he's kind of tap dancing around the whole thing. And he's such a, they were such an impressive couple. I had to tell them. So the next day, after the wedding, they have a brunch. And we go to the brunch, and those kids are there. And I see they're at the table behind me. And I wait till they're getting ready to leave. And I go to the kid and I go, hey, and I'd even introduce, I talked to him, but I didn't say, hey, I'm Jim or whatever. Or maybe I did. It's my wife, Dee. And I said, hey. Oh, and then I found out who he is. Like how popular this kid was. But I also knew this kid went through what so many of us go through in life, which not only do we go through it, but we're really losing touch with these moments in life. The kid, I don't know if it's public knowledge. I'm sure it is, so it's not up for me to say. But they went through some pretty. I think they lost their dad when he was 16. Mike, you can relate to that. You were even younger. A lot of people can relate to that. Okay, so I wasn't impressed because this kid was famous and was humble. I was more impressed that this kid, I'm assuming his brother's the same way, this kid was such a humble, good human being. Even with this, like, you're the greatest and X amount of followers and blah, blah, blah. But to go through such painful real life situations as a teenager, I think many of us should, we all know people like that. Those are the human beings you really have to wrap your arms around and lift them up, encourage them, and heal. I watched this go down. My oldest brother, he was, this was my mom's ultimate, like, guidance. That was that's her firstborn son. And there was so much linked to my brother. When I was moving back to New York, from Florida, because I was doing stand up and I was doing a lot of road gigs, and it was time to move to New York, LA. And my mom's like, make sure you talk to Eddie and make sure you get in with Eddie. And she's like, if I can't be there, you're with the other parent. And he was much older. He already had 3 sons. And he lived in Connecticut, really good home. He was going to be one of the main advertising sellers for Sports Illustrated. He was offered that job. When it was about to come out, my brother was offered that. And I remember when I was younger too, he came up with the whole idea of Comedy Central before it existed. I'm not saying Comedy Central took it. Not at all. What I'm saying is I didn't understand. He's a businessman. He's an ad seller, and he was a businessman. Always had his tie, always dressed really nice. And he couldn't wrap my head I was going to make it as a stand-up. But he was like, is there comedy news that we can do? Is there, what about, like, everyone puts their stand-up bits together and it plays over and over? Or I'm like, oh my God, how do you even do something like that? Years later. So with that said, I was very close to his children. They're all close to my age. So I was like their big brother. I took myself as the role as the big brother with all my nieces and nephews, because my brothers and sisters were all much older. They had kids. They were adults. And when that phone call that I'll never forget that phone call. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean he's gone? Yeah, he died. And I remember going in the house. There were so many things that happened. My mom breaks down before we go in the house. She starts breaking down the street. Heartbreaking to watch any parent that loses their kid. I wasn't even worried it was my brother. It was more, this is my mom's kid, her first kid. Oh my God. So with that said, she's saying, this is what I'll never forget this. She said, when I see Lefty, I'm going to slap him in the face for taking him. I said, who's Lefty? Was my mom's very first husband during World War II. He got killed in the war 6 weeks before the war ended. Came home, finished his time, came home, married, pregnant. He wanted to go back, goes back, sniper gets him 6 weeks before the war ends. She has his kid. So now you see even the deeper tie. This is the tie to my mom's very first love in life. So, and then she goes, he told me he was taking him. And he told me he was taking him. So what are you talking about? What do you mean? What are you talking about, Mom? I had a dream. It was a tunnel. It was like in New York City, and it was raining. And he said, "I'm sorry, Doris. I have to spend time with my son." That's what my mom is saying to me before I walk in the house where my brother has passed. What is that? What is that? Is that something out of the Bible? Is that something out of the Quran? What is it just a dream? Did he come to her? Did he tell her that? She was pretty, I'm telling you, this is my mom. I know what she said in front. I know what happened. And then after he passed, it was 2-3 days later, and I took a nap at my sister's house, and he came as clear as day to me, as clear as day. And we telepathically spoke to one another. His lips weren't moving, but I heard, and he was with my Nana, and it was beautiful, and I feel like he was in her backyard. And he said to me, "Look in on the boys once in a while. Could you do that? Can you look on the, but they look up to you." And then he kind of looked at, he said, they'll be okay. But I could tell just by him saying they'll be okay, I felt, whoa, I don't know what kind of turbulence that's going to be, but I just saw. It was just a split. It was all telepathic in a dream where I passed out, whatever it was. I was passed out taking a nap on my sister's bed out in Rocky Point, Long Island. And he came clear as day. And then he said, "Don't worry about Mom. She has you and the rest of you. She's going to be okay. Just check in on the kids once in a while. Check on the boys." And I said, "Bro, I got nothing. I want you all to understand. I have nothing to gain from this. I'm not selling a religion. I'm not selling anything. I'm just giving you insight. Is this something in all of us, if we took time to understand it, to look into it, all that?" He says, I said, Eddie, what about you? What about you?" And he goes, "I'm super." Just like that. Big belly laugh. "I'm super." And boom, I woke up, and I didn't want to tell my sister. I didn't want to tell. I started telling my nieces, and I didn't want to hurt anyone's feelings, because I didn't want other siblings that went through so much more history with him to go, "Why did he visit you and not visit me?" Like, I didn't want to get into all that. But I was like, what is that? What is that? Is that a deeper spiritual connection that's in us all that the natives know? When I say natives, real humans. Let's start just saying real humans. You, many of you have felt this. Many of you have experienced this. How do we learn more about this stuff? And the thing is, too, what I'll never forget, and it taught me so much just about society. The train keeps moving. The train keeps moving. Your child is lacking. He's emotional. He's kind of lashing out. Here's a drug. Here's a special class. Does that happen in a native world? Does it happen in a neighborhood where everyone's making a sign? Does it happen in tribes? I hate using these words. In natural humanity. Does it happen in natural humanity when a father dies and leaves 3 boys? Do you think any of them, like, "Come on, we gotta keep going to school. Come on, we gotta keep going to work. Or come on, we gotta go have our pizza, and we got a thing. I gotta jump on the phone. I gotta do this, and the lights just keep it." Or do they all nourish this child And they've taught this child the meaning of life, that we live and we die. We're here to experience. We're here to touch one another. We're here to keep this machine going, plant some seeds, help this human being going through this situation. Oh, you're a grandma and your daughter-in-law doesn't like you, so she kind of holds the baby over your head. Well, let me give you an example. I kind of went through that in my house. Maybe I can hear you. Oh, your kid's got the Down syndrome. Oh, well, this kid got Down syndrome. We look after each other. Oh, I heard you're sick. Oh, do you need a roof fixed? But how did we lose that? And I'll tell you, it's the screens. It's politics. You left, you're right, you're this, you're that, you're this, you're that, and boom. It's religion. Are you Christian? Are you Muslim? Are you this? Are you, if you're not that, then you can't listen to that. I know so many people that when they find their faith or they label themselves, they become perhaps the most close-minded human beings I've ever met in my lifetime, where it starts affecting not only them, but everybody around them, everyone around them. That spiritual part of humanity, I believe, is going to be, and discovering it within ourselves, and using it and spreading it, just purity, pure existence, love, nourishment, healing. It's a must. It's a do or die. Because that's honestly, in my opinion, the ultimate key in the rest of our existence. It really is. Oh, if we're financial, anytime I hear financially, you're it's still part of that create. I'm not saying we got to leave everything. And that's the hard part. Well, what do we do? What do we do? How do we start without monopolizing and capitalizing and making money off the everything fun is taking money, or you got to make money off it now. How do we start teaching humanity to tap into that deeper spirit within? And I have to say, there's a lot of great things on the internet, a lot of great things. And one of the most refreshing things that I've seen and that I've heard, a lot of people think, oh, these are the end of times. And certain religions have been saying that forever and ever. We're in the end times. Well, how long does it last? They're all misleading visual concepts, if you ask me. I can't wait till so-and-so gets back. What are you waiting for? Why aren't you doing something now? Or are you just complaining? Are you complaining, or are you healing and doing something that will better yourself and others' lives? Not just financially, from the soul, the spirit. How do you water that spirit and nourish that soul? That is... I want to start getting some. We got to start getting some natives on here. I want to learn from people that know how to talk and how to generate energy that's in the spirit realm and the deeper side of us. I think it's... Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to join like one of those camps or start up a whole Buddha festival or something. I'm just saying, these are things that I've been thinking about since I'm home. And these are actually things that have been on my mind and spirit for years, 20, 30, 40 years. I've been looking at this. So the woman, I went way off track here. the mom of these Dillon twins. I only remember the one twin. And I went up to him and I said, "Can I just tell you?" And I had a desire to tell him, and my desire to compliment him and his mother, and I did it. And this is a key that I feel so many people should understand and learn too. I literally did it for the enjoyment to watch those people flourish and feel better, even though I didn't think either one felt bad or yucky. But I feel so many times, so many of us feel like we want to give something, advice or a compliment or something, even to a stranger. You see them, you're like, I feel like I can change that stranger's whole mood if I feel like this. So I went up to him. I said, "Hey, man, I know about your journeys. And I'm more impressed by your personal journey at home and what you've accomplished, especially going up and down. You carry yourself in a very inspirational way. Very inspirational way. I'm really, really impressed by that human." And then I went to his mother and I said, "May I just tell you, because I've been felt to tell you, you did some job as a mother, because I know what you all went through, the good and bad." And the woman I didn't expect, she swelled up with tears and just started sobbing. And she just was like, "Oh my God. Oh my God." And you can see the release, whatever she was holding on to. This woman had to be in the thick of her children starting to take off in society, and something that comes their way that nobody's prepared for. And they didn't go into the club, and they held their own, and they were approached by every monster you can imagine, and they're getting more popular and every vulture, monster, leech sucking money. "We're an agent." Why are they called agents? "We come from this agency." Their tongue comes out and the tail flitters in the back. Not only are they fighting that off just to put things out there, they lose one of the biggest rocks you can have in this lifetime, and that's your father, a good father. That is the perfect storm for a horrific ride and disaster. I've seen boys go to prison, junkies, all stuff that didn't go well because this society is not, A, we don't prepare for it. B, we don't even think about it. All our eyes are on fame. I want to be a famous ball player. I want to be a millionaire. I want to be a doctor that makes $1 gazillion. I want more money. I want more things. I need this is stopping me from the making be all I can be. And none of that has a soul or a spirit. Can you imagine if we just started teaching awareness of like, hey man, we're not here forever. Everything should be valued. We may not even be here tomorrow. May not be here tomorrow. I get phone calls. Whenever I get a phone call, I want parents to listen, especially teenagers, no matter how much your kid drives you nuts. I will get a phone call from one of my kids or someone I really love. And no matter what I'm in the middle of, I pick up, I go, hey, everything cool, Bubba? Can I call you right back? I just want to hear your voice and make sure everything's okay. Yeah, I'm in a minute. I want to get back to you right now, unless you want to talk right now. Because this is the raw fact that so many people don't like hearing, and they think is too far out there. You never know if you're going to get that opportunity, that phone call again. I've lived that. I lived that. Hey, I'd love it if you can come with me to blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't know. I never even had the opportunity to see them again. Hey, it'd be great if you can. I'm never going to see him again. And that's I know we're focused on what the country's going to be and how great the world's going to be and whatever's going to happen. Those are great positive things to latch onto. But understanding it's okay to put into neutral and start coasting and start really reflecting on who's gone in your life, who could be gone soon. Take that phone call. Is what you're doing in life really that exciting? Is it really helping anyone? Is it really helping? If you want to call someone, call them. You ever just nonstop think of someone? Call them. Hey, man, I don't know why. I was just thinking of you. It's funny you called. How many times you get that? Funny you called because I was thinking you all day. And there's something in all that. So I think I'm feeling really good seeing so many young people and so many people in general just asking so many questions, waking up to so many things. And I really think the human spirit's going to come back with quite a beautiful way of making things simple again. And we just one little step at a time. And I hope today was helpful. I know it's kind of all over the place. And again, back to that simple compliment to the mom who made her cry. I didn't make her cry. I was driven to tell her that. Why was I driven just to tell her that? Did I feel she needed it? But no, it was. It's nice to hear that when you've been through journeys. I've been through some. We've all been through some pretty brutal journeys. I don't need to get into the details. You all have been through some type of brutal journey. And when you're the caretaker and you're the one who's taken upon yourself to shield everything and to put everyone behind you and kind of protect and lift everyone up, those times too, although you're not looking for the compliment, you're not looking to say, look what I did. It is nice when someone out of the blue recognizes it. And for all you know, that's a spirit. That woman's husband died. You don't know if that spirit, I want my wife to know, I want my boy to know I'm proud. Even though it came from me, maybe that's how they process it. Maybe that's what it was. I start off every day. And again, I'm not selling nothing here. I'm just telling you, it can't hurt. I wake up every day. I look up at the sun and I say, whatever you need me to say or do today to keep your big show going, your existence going. How do I make your life better? Because I know you got me here to help things out. We're all here. We're all blessed. We don't know if we're here tomorrow. What can I do to help another person Let me say the right thing. Let me do the right thing. Let me feel the right thing. And let me execute the right thing for you, not me. Not me. Can't make it about me. That's the key. Much love to you guys. I'm really glad you joined me on the Breuniverse today. We're going to have a fun new year. I got a lot of cool plans. Mike's coming down. We're going to set up some cameras. We have this studio, and now I have another studio I'm super excited about. We got to get that. We got a couple things, certain segments that we were talking about, and we'll jump into that week after week and a week, and who knows, maybe we'll start going twice a week. Thank you all very much. Mike, thanks, buddy, and see you next week on the Breuniverse. This is Jim Breuer, and I got my own Patreon page, and hopefully you'll check it out. Live comedy concert streamed once a month. Early access to the Breuniverse podcast every single week, and have bonus footage and bonus segments. I promise you I'm not going to let you down. Go check out my official Jim Breuer Patreon page, and I'll see you there.